Episode 28 of Win Me the Lottery. Hello, Chris.
Good afternoon, Tony. How you doing?
I'm good. I have a question for you, Chris.
Go for it.
Do you reckon you have children you don't know about?
You know Boris Johnson? I know we've been covering politics on the show recently, but you know Boris?
I don't know, as we get older, you could have kids. I don't know if you thought about kids, but it's just something that came to mind because...
Yeah. Well, it could. Yeah, if you're
it is Father's Day.
It is possible. Any man out there could feasibly have because they don't know about.
It's totally. I mean, I don't know how adventurous your 20s were, but hey, it's for you to share. Who knows?
If I start using that DNA app, do you remember somebody emailed in last week who was talking about they used the DNA app, they found a long lost. Imagine that, Tony. Imagine you log on there, you finally use it, and your kid out of nowhere just says, Tony, hi, I'm your daughter, I'm your son.
Oh, right. And, this is one of the reasons why we want to play the lottery, because in case there may be children you don't know about,
we can provide for them.
Yeah, there is a duty. There is a duty to provide.
Or we can get rid of them through... No, I'm obviously joking. Obviously joking.
I mean, I know in America they take that quite seriously, that you have to pay, child support, right? And there's always a big back and forth in those, in those televised court cases where they try to prove, well, I will provide if you do a DNA test to prove that is my kid. And quite a lot of the cases is not theirs.
Yeah.
And then they get all emotional and start crying when they've actually devoted the big portion of their life kind of raising this kid.
Jerry Springer style. Shows. Yeah.
But talk about father and children. What kind of inspired me was that I actually saw over 100 penises this weekend.
That sounds like a normal weekend for you, Tony.
Well, it's not normal. But the reason why I saw 100 penises, it wasn't that I was going around looking at penises or looking at porn online. It was I was innocently walking through London.
Into Soho?
Into
a sex party?
No, in the city of London, because I was walking over Blackfriars Bridge, and whether you say it's good timing or not, but there were about 200, 300 cyclists literally riding past me, and they were naked. Majority of them were men. Ooh. So that's obviously not a common...
No, the naked... So there's two, isn't there? There's the naked tube ride. There's a day where they get on the tube naked. Yeah. And then there's this naked bike ride.
So that's correct. So it was a London naked bike ride. And looking at the standard, it says it sees over a record 1,200 people cycle nude throughout the capital.
Nude?
They were completely started.
Absolutely nude.
So I saw literally...
You saw at least 1,000 penises.
I saw a good few hundred.
And how many pairs of breasts?
So if I was to estimate as a ratio, it's probably like 1 to 30.
Yeah, so it's always the blokes, isn't it?
So, some women were put like tape across their nipples, and so they're a little bit more kind of less revealing. And then others were fully naked, so I saw vaginas as well. The only unpleasant thing I would say is that when I was walking by, and I was with my girlfriend, and I was trying to cover her eyes just not to see it, but then she was giggling because she's probably seen 100 penises before already.
She is a doctor.
That's what I was going to say. Before people jump to conclusions, she is a doctor, so she's seen quite a few of them. But the only unpleasant thing that I was thinking about was that, first of all, what if there was a load of kids walking by? I don't think that's a great...
Well, listen, the kids have to get used to it. It's just a fact of life. This is what people's bodies look like.
Yeah, that is true. But then the smell...
What's wrong with it? That's what I'm beginning to think. What's even wrong with just seeing naked bodies? There's nothing sexual about it. They're just nude, cycling through the city.
So what's stopping people from doing that normally? Just walking around?
I probably would look worse nude than if I were clothed. That's the only thing stopping me.
But yeah, I think the thing is that if you frame it into like an event, it's fine. But if people just do it as a normal day to day, that's... If I walked into the office naked, people would be like...
I think people would be like, it's my lucky day. It is my lucky day today. But yeah, it's interesting that they do these events, because we're actually, we go back to this, normalising it, whatever.
Yeah.
What are the laws around being nude in the UK?
I have no idea. We should look into that.
It's quite a conservative country when it comes to stuff like that, isn't it?
I know in Germany,
compared to Germany, for example,
they have nudist parts of the parks and beaches and stuff like that.
I think a lot of Europe you'd expect to see it if you went to the beach or even by the lake or whatever.
I actually pictured, like, imagine a few American tourists just catching that and going like, man, this is so European. Just to see like a load of naked people cycling. But what I was going to mention about the whole thing is that, it was quite fun to see, but I did get a whiff. There's just the smell of naked bodies and just like, and you could just smell like, I guess it was
cycling. They're probably like going quite far, long distances, bit sweaty.
It just smells like bodies, like genitalia and stuff like that. And some body odor was, I wouldn't say something, it just smells, what's the word? It's kind of like
musky.
Musky is the word. And, I was holding Starbucks at the time, but I was trying to support them, just to give them a bit of a clap. But I didn't see any erect penises. So it was all quite flaccid. So
that's a shame.
I was quite surprised. Some people might get a kick out of these things, just like, flesh on the actual.
How exactly did you cheer them on? Were you sort of spanking them as they went past?
No. I was literally just doing this kind of awkward clap with my Starbucks.
With your Starbucks
like this. Nice. But I was like to my girlfriend, I actually didn't say, but I was in my mind, I said, should I try and do a high five? Just like to...
What, to their penis?
No, just to
right.
Or just go like, because we're in summer right now, but it's not exactly warm.
No, it's really not, is it? I mean, actually, the blue sky has come out from our studio here. I can see blue sky, but it was pouring down a minute ago.
Yeah.
And it is not warm. I mean, it's telling me 15 degrees on my watch.
So I was going to go to it. It's just, looking at someone's penis, I goes, it's all right, mate, it is a bit cold. So they have an excuse. But I didn't see anything that was, large or anything. Everything looked quite...
Small.
Small. So it made me feel better. There was a kind of a comparison right there. But I guess what we're kind of leading on to for our topic a week later is, what is it, Chris?
Topic of the week this week, Tony, is Father's Day, which takes place this coming Sunday on the 16th of June. And Tony, I mean, what do you think makes a good father?
Well, this is the thing, we're really going to explore this later, but I think one of the things that you can definitely say what a good father
massive
is.
Cock. Sorry, I thought that's what you were leading on to from the bike ride.
Well, I guess, does having a big cock means good sperm, therefore means good offspring?
Biologically and scientifically speaking, it is true. And exactly, genetics.
I think a rich one is, on paper, is a good one.
We are. On Win Me the Lottery, rich. But, being there for you, caring, because you do sometimes have rich parents who kind of are a bit absentee and leave you with the maid or whatever.
So I am being facetious with the rich one, even though it's always a nice to have. But I did Google, like, what is a good father? And the explanation that came up on Google was, being a good father goes beyond providing for your children's physical needs. Mm-hmm. It involves being present, engaged, and committed to their emotional, social, and psychological development.
Wow.
Lacking a good dad can profoundly impact children's self-esteem, relationships, and overall well-being. What do you think of that?
I love that one, Tony. Are there any particular people you think who that kind of draws to your attention? Lacking a good dad can profoundly impact children's self-esteem, relationships, and overall well-being.
So there's two sides to this. Yeah. So I'm thinking that's how serial killers are made.
Yeah.
I mean,
we've been over that before. Mindhunter, one of the greatest, and I say this seriously, one of the greatest TV series of all time.
Yeah.
On Netflix. Only 2 seasons. It should be back. 6 seasons in a movie like Community. But, that was all about how the FBI kind of got this portrait of serial killers and, difficult childhood.
Totally.
I would really out there, high correlation.
And you can argue that some of the best comedians have kind of father issues. They always kind of recite certain things with their father and then go like, oh, that is funny. And that's kind of shaped their character to maybe laugh at or see dark humour.
And we went through this before.
Yeah.
Dark humour means you're more intelligent. Do you remember we went on this pod?
Definitely. So if you've got a dark sense of humour, that's a good thing, I would say. You could argue this is going to be a bit controversial, that maybe having, a bad father or absent father might make better porn stars. I don't know.
Which ones have you been watching? Is that the storyline?
You know when
it's normally the stepbrother or sister, isn't it? So is that something to do with it?
No, some people make maybe a generalization of why some young women get into porn or go to the extreme.
Daddy issues, you're trying to say.
They're trying to say it's daddy issues, or they didn't have a father to kind of show them the way, and they do.
I would never ever subscribe to that, Tony, because my view, and how many times have I said it on this pod?
Yeah,
freedom. Let people make their own choices. It's all legal.
I mean, you make a good point. It could be the case that whoever enters porn is just doing it because
it's well paid.
It's well paid if you make it,
and
you might have a high sex drive, and that serves that purpose.
Yep.
And you generally enjoy it, and you're living a hedonist lifestyle.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Just different perspective there. But I guess we can get into it in our topic of the week later. But before that, we need to go through last Saturday's Lotto result.
And Tony, I think we had quite a good jackpot this week.
We certainly did. So the jackpot amount was £11.4 million. So what were the winning numbers? It was 3, 7, 10, 23, 24, 41, and the bonus ball was 59. Machine name was Arthur and ball set 2. So what were my numbers? So it was 1, 10, 16, 24, 30 and 55.
Oh, nice. We got 2. That's a lucky dip, isn't it?
We did. So we won a lucky dip. So I need to double check. I think that is in for...
This Wednesday,
or either today's Set for Life.
So Set for Life? Oh, so imagine if we were Set for Life after this.
It's 10 grand a month, which is kind of set for life.
I've said it before, I quite like that one.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I'll take
30
it.
years.
So yeah, at least we've got a result. Past few weeks we've got zilch. We've got a lucky dip. So
does the 10 grand go up with inflation?
I think it's just 10 grand.
I've just figured out the horrible flaw with that game. But isn't it true that you can take it as a lump sum at first?
I think you can.
So now we've just figured out to beat inflation, you need to take it as a lump sum and then invest it or save it in a savings account. Otherwise, in 30, let's say in 20 years' time, you've got another 10 years to go. 10 grand, what's that going to be worth? That's
true. I mean, that is a very good point. Because you could just take the interest and just have that. Yeah, totally. I think we're agreeing on the taking a lump sum.
Yeah.
Unless you've got a bit of a gambling problem and that maybe that is the best way for you is just to take the 10 grand every month because you're not blowing it all up in some crazy casino binge or something like that. But yeah, what are our listeners been saying this week, Chris?
Well, Tony, our listeners have been going mad once again, getting in touch. The mailbag is bulging. But we had an email in from Jerome, which was a topical one based on last week's episode. So Jerome sent this last week. He said, "Hi, Tony and Chris. Love listening to the show. I heard the story this week about the lady whose sister reached out to her on the DNA app. I have to share that the same thing happened to me a few years ago.
Oh.
I now have a beautiful second family, and it is the best thing that ever happened to me. I say go for it. You have little to lose, but so much to gain." Jerome. And Tony, we can't reveal the name. We just called them Lucifer, who emailed in last week. But yeah, some really great words of advice there from Jerome, just on the other side of, look, this has happened to me, and I loved it.
I love a positive story, even though when I hear about DNA, I always think of trying to track a serial killer. What are the DNA results of that?
Yeah.
Can we link them to the crime scene?
And by the way, when he says beautiful second family, is that exactly what we were talking about a minute ago? Maybe a few kids reached out to Jerome. I'm sure that's not what it is.
Yeah, I mean...
Second family.
What would be your initial reaction if you're a single guy and you're trying to get your life together and, you're getting on a bit, say you're later in life, and then suddenly you get a knock on the door and you've got 3 young people at the door and they go,
Our mum just died. We're your kids.
Yeah.
We're moving in.
They're like,
oh, great, something to focus on for the rest of my life.
And then you're like, you're like, I can barely support myself, and then I've got 3 other kids. I think the most immediate reaction would be like,
crap, how am I going to...
Shit.
Just on the basis of how am I going to support them, maybe, for some people. But can you imagine if, you were single, maybe you were like mid-30s like you are, Tony.
Yeah.
And then you get a knock at the door, and it's this really hot chick, and she said, I'm your stepsister.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, I don't even know how that makes sense. And you're like, well, we're not related, and you're really getting on.
Yeah.
Would you kind of get it on with your stepsister if just say that was the situation?
What is this? Are you trying to kind of tell a porn? It sounds like a porn movie that you're just kind of reciting.
Well, I don't know how it happened, but somehow you went on the app, and it turns out your stepsister has located you on the app. Knock on the door. They're hot as all hell.
And you said, I'm single.
And she says, I'm single. You're really vibing as the night wears on. You've had a few glasses of wine.
Then I go, Dr. Ding, there's someone at the door.
Yeah, but in this scenario, Dr. Ding's...
Oh, this is a completely different universe
obviously,
dimension.
Yeah, this is totally different. Dr. Ding, don't worry. We're not saying about now.
Yeah. Because I've got female Bigfoot ahead of the queue. Okay, forget female Bigfoot doesn't exist. Well, I'll go...
Is it ethical to sort of have a relationship with your stepsister or stepbrother if you...
But if we're talking...
You're not related. You're not related. They only know the DNA because of the... well, I don't know how they know the DNA, actually.
So you're saying that she knocks on my door and what, she just says, can I come in? And she, takes off her clothes?
Yeah.
And then what?
No. She walks... You welcome her in.
Yeah.
First of all, you say, how do you know you're my stepsister? She said, the DNA app. You say, well, how does that work?
But we're not related.
Yeah, exactly. How does that work? But, these DNA apps are very advanced. AI probably worked it out for them. Yeah. And then you're getting on, you've had a few glasses of wine, suddenly she strips nude.
Yeah. First of all, Chris, I'm only flesh and blood.
Yeah.
And I'm a heterosexual male. So this will be tough.
Yeah.
So I'll go to what's her name?
Lolita.
Lolita. I go, Lolita, put your clothes on. I'm calling you an Uber because this is inappropriate. Yeah, and that's what I'll do, I think.
Even if her name's Lolita.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what would you think? What were you insinuating
I'm just trying to get the ethical thing. You do see this out there, all this stuff about stepsister, stepbrother. It seems a bit wrong. But I suppose if it was your stepsister you'd never met before.
Yeah, it would be a complete stranger.
It's a complete stranger. And they're probably making it up, because how would the DNA app have known you're this?
Yeah, it only makes it awkward if you generally had a personal connection in the context of you there being your sister.
Yeah, and in that respect, you've grown up together.
Yeah, and you've seen them in a different light. I think, actually, Chris, I don't know, I might be... kind of make an assumption here. It might be a turn on for you if you go, I'm your stepsister. I don't know. Will it be?
Absolutely not.
But yeah, we should explore that in another topic.
In a future episode, we need to get a special guest on, a relationship expert for that one. But we had another one where you're getting just YouTube comments pinging us like mad. As I say, our mail sack is absolutely overflowing. And YouTube comment from Bishton. And this was in relation to a topic we covered the other week around student loans being written off in the US. And what was happening is they're writing off student loans. Tony's point was, actually, do you want to just...
Yeah, I was just saying that, the idea of kind of writing off student loans, I think is unfair.
Yeah.
Especially to people, so number one, that have grafted, scrimped and saved and not kind of maybe experienced the whole college experience just to pay off their student loans. So i.e. maybe living at home or not staying in dorms, really working multiple jobs and finally paying it off. And then the second point is that, if you didn't go to college and, your opportunities are limited in terms of career and you're working minimum wage jobs, the tax you're paying will essentially subsidize and pay for their student loans, which can be racking up to six figures. And they ultimately, having had a high level of education, will end up earning better opportunities, earning more, and they've made the choice to go to that particular college.
I think it's a really interesting point. And Bishton came back and said, how about we tax the people that go to uni and get high-paying wages more? Most people on minimum wage didn't pay tax. It's only because the Tories have frozen the tax bands they're now paying tax. Your argument doesn't hold water, says Bishton. So I'm just trying to get to this. So I don't really know exactly what Bishton means, other than they're saying, look, tax people that go to uni. I think he's saying that instead of student loans. So the issue with student loans is, if you're from a really wealthy family, and I knew many people at uni who this was the case, your parents just pay it off. It's nothing to them. And then people like you and I, hard-working individuals, were paying it off for years. And especially now, it's $9,000. People are paying that off for that basically until it's written off, which is like 40 years later or whatever, isn't it? Or 30 years later. And Bishop's saying, well, actually, rather than student loans, if you go to uni, you get a tax. Maybe that tax is less than the student loan, which I think was like 10%.
I still don't understand what he's... Yeah, I think I
don't know what he means after that, though.
But I think he's saying that effectively, if you have a significant student loan anyway, you've got a tax throughout your career anyway, until I can't remember how many years where it gets written off, but you're going to be having that payment anyway. So that is in a way a bit of a tax, the way I view it. But in terms of he's saying for UK specifically, it looks like most people on minimum wage didn't pay taxes only because the Tories have frozen the tax bans. I think he's alluding that when you earn minimum wage,
in the personal allowance.
Yeah, just over 12k, it's not taxed, right? Anything above that, it starts to be taxed. But
obviously, Tories have frozen tax bans, which is actually a bit of a stealth tax that's been happening. With inflation being quite high, they haven't raised the tax bans with inflation. Which is another one to bear in mind with the election, of course, now on. So it's a bit of a stealth tax. But what's that got to do with your argument?
I'm not too sure. I think he's looking at it from a UK perspective. All I'm saying is that in the US, the student loans that, on average, are significantly higher. And people do pay tax on a lot of things on minimum wage. They pay tax through their wages. Even like taxes on... taxes on everything they buy. So that all contributes to the government. And who's going to pay for giving these loans? The taxpayer.
How about we tax the people that go to uni and get high pay? Who knows? Bishton, you better come back to us. And I think Bishton is a regular listener to the show, so I'm sure they will. So, Tony, should we move on to the topic of the week, which this week is Father's Day.
So, of course, it's Father's Day on the 16th of June. And obviously we're going to cover it because we did Mother's Day. And we're all about equality, right? Even though, I don't know about you, Chris, but do you think that Mother's Day seems to be a bigger deal?
I think so. I think you hear more about it. And it's, we could get into a real debate here and talk about the whole thing because... You go back in time, and obviously it's the mother who bears the child, bears the fruit of their womb. And when you go back in time, traditionally, of course, it was the mother who rears the child, and the father goes out to work. And we've moved on from that, Tony, to a society where the mother and the father go out to work. Sometimes the father might even stay at home, and that's a choice. And if we are in that kind of environment, should they both be given the same precedence? I don't know. They sometimes say, look, mothers have the best bond with the child because they actually bore that child. They carried that child around in their bellies for 9 months, Tony.
There is that. But then I'm all about equality. And what I would say is that I am a mummy's boy. I'll say it right there. I'm a mummy's boy. So naturally... I'm like, of course, Mother's Day.
So you are more interested in Mother's Day yourself?
Yeah,
So you spend more on a Mother's Day gift than a Father's Day gift?
You got me there. I think
just so it's okay.
Probably. And I'm not alone, because I actually did some research, and it actually says that Father's Day spending is about half of that of Mother's Day. And why is that? So if we look into this article, and I found on Proactive Investors, so it says that, however, spending for the day is less than half of that of Mother's Day, with the celebration seeing a high amount of economic activity, particularly in the gifts market. Nevertheless, hospitality venues are likely to experience a similar surge in trade on Father's Day as on Mother's Day, the research added.
So basically people spend more on gifts or get more gifts from others, but actually when it comes to the meal out or down the pub or whatever, it's about the same.
Probably
interesting.
Probably because pints are so expensive now that you're down a few pints. Yeah. It's just it all adds up. But I guess, it's quite interesting that, I'm just quite interested to hear the perspective. I don't think there is a lot of range in terms of gifts. Like, if I asked you, Chris, it's Father's Day, what are you getting your dad?
Well, you know what, Tony? I actually asked him this weekend, what does he want? And he wrote a very long message about what he wanted. But he's got a brand new barbecue.
Yeah.
And he wanted some kind of device he can put in the barbecue to barbecue fish. And there was something else on there, but I can't remember. But yeah, that's what is good. In my family, people always just kind of save up things that they actually want. And then when it comes to an occasion like this, they go, right, this is exactly what I want. So I basically just buy what I'm asked for. So, it just varies.
Helpful.
Yeah, it just varies as to what have they actually asked for. Who am I going to spend more on?
So do you have a spreadsheet of just everyone just puts in what they want?
For Christmas, we have a shared notes, a spreadsheet would be even better. But for Father's Day, I just toast them.
That's great. I mean, that is what a great idea. I think where the challenge is that I love surprises. So I don't, I think maybe it is quite useful to tell people what you want. Then you get, it kind of expectations meet, and you don't need to faff around trying to think too hard. Where I'm like, I like the surprise. Surprise me. Think about what I would like, what's out there. Get creative. And I think with Mother's Day, there's so many options. Not only just within flowers as well. Like, you've got this type of flower, that type of flower. You've got all the type of gifts in the sense of homeware that you could maybe say is a bit more kind of female centric. Chocolates is a big thing. You got all the types of sweet treats you can totally get your mother. I think with dads, immediately when I think of presents, I feel like Father's Day kind of merges with Christmas. So it's socks,
bottle of
whiskey,
beer.
If you want to toolkit. If you want to go you've got all those kind of at home draft beer things.
Yeah. Link's gift set.
Yeah, and that's about it, really.
Yeah.
Actually, would you get one of those draft home? They look like fun for a bit, and then what? How many pints get it?
No, I just don't think it's worth it, because unless you get a really good beer that you can integrate with it, but they've normally got decent beer there anyway when I get home.
Yeah, and you probably use it for maybe a month, and you just forget about it. It just gathers dust. But I guess I'm just putting it out there. Maybe we just reconsider. Since it's Father's Day coming up, are you spending more on your mother than your father? And maybe try and look at kind of making it more equal. So
quality. Quality is all we're asking for here.
So if you worked out how much you're spending for your mother is £100.
Yeah. Double it for your dad, just so that you make up for all those years before.
You could do, or you found that fish thing costs £50. Chuck in the £50 note, inside the thing. You go, little note. This £50 is just to make things equal with mum.
Yeah,
I'll just say that.
And then they might pay it to mum.
Yeah. But
in a way, you could argue, some people might argue, if you buy mum a better gift, you're saving dad some money. Because dad doesn't have to get mum the gift.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, to be honest...
From the patriarchal view of the dad's the one with the money, you see. But I wouldn't agree with that.
Yeah, I think didn't we talk about it in Japan? The woman looks after all the money, isn't it?
And that, yeah, it's progressive in that respect.
If we start talking about dads, but like, obviously I've got my father, you've got your father, we've got people that have obviously fathers, but a lot of
famous fathers.
Some of them might be famous, but like, what is some good depictions of what a good dad is? And a lot of that comes from movies and TV shows, right?
Yeah.
So I pulled up a list of like the 20 best movie dads of all time, and there's quite a lot on the list here. Some of them go through Atticus Finch. So if you've read the book To Kill a Mockingbird,
yeah.
So he's a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
But he's also a good dad. I don't think I remember watching it.
He's a moralistic. Yeah, it even says so. He's one of the most moral men in film history. So obviously, but but this is what is a question, because sometimes, is that what you need, the moralistic dad?
I'll just go.
Or is it actually going to end in disaster for your kids because you're just abiding by all these rules, these moral laws, these moral maxims?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, you've got to teach your kids and guide them. But what if the kid is like a Dexter, like he is just has the urge to kill? And the dad actually encourages that in a way to kill. Hey, if you want to kill people, kill the bad people. Will he be up for that? Probably not.
Yeah.
This is great. Okay, I'm skipping this past. Is Brian Mills. So I don't even know his name.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known that until I saw Liam Neeson's face.
So now people are going to know it's taken.
Yeah, taken.
Because, who wouldn't want to dad that? You know, who would kind of basically...
Well, he went halfway around the world. He killed dozens of individuals in order to rescue his daughter. Is that right?
He fucked up a load of people. Yeah, he said, don't mess with my daughter. But I think he was a bad father to begin with, to let her travel to Paris by herself.
True.
That was flawed, but he made up for it. But yeah, that is a dad that you don't want to mess with. And then Con Air, Cameron Poe, so that was Nicolas Cage. I remember he had to get the little toy that he was always after, the teddy bear. So that was quite funny. Go on, Chris. You're a fan of Will Smith. What movie is this one?
I'm not. I think I might have watched this, but I can't remember. But Chris Gardner's Pursuit of Happiness, Will Smith. You
haven't seen this? You got to. This is quite a good dad.
If I have, and quite frankly, I'm not interested in Will Smith after what he did to poor old what's his name.
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock. But this is one that I do admire.
Oh yes.
Clark Griswold. From the National Lampoon's franchise is Chevy Chase, of course. And Chevy Chase, really an admirable character in a number of shows. Community, remember Chevy Chase in Community? He was brilliant. But yeah, just always trying to be the best that he could. Sometimes with unexpected consequences.
I do like him.
He always tried to make it magical, didn't he?
I think he was a little bit short with his son. Because he always goes, shut up, Russ.
Yeah.
But overall, I think, the classic National Lampoon's the Christmas film.
Yeah.
I watch it every year because it's on every year. But yeah, how he kind of tries to bring the family together in the home. The Christmas lights.
Make it magical. He has to get the lights working. They get the world's biggest Christmas tree in their living room.
Yeah. And then he finally reads towards the night before Christmas. He gets to read it, like the dad's passed on the baton to him. And then that rant about the Christmas bonus is actually up there in terms of top 10 rants on TV and film. So there's a whole list here. I mean,
Mrs. Doubtfire. That was a good effort, wasn't it? Daniel Hillard, Mrs. Doubtfire, Robin Williams, where he dressed up as a nanny, as a woman.
He went to extremes to be in his children's lives.
Yeah.
I still thought it was a bit harsh for her to go through that divorce thing and take the kids when he was... I still don't remember why... He's not beating them up or anything. It's not even that bad. He's just a comedy actor that is probably not your typical father, really. Darth Vader, is he a good dad? He's just a famous one. He cuts his own son's hand off.
Yeah, I just think this is disgusting.
Yeah.
I've included him there. I don't agree with that whatsoever. And to be honest...
Jingle all the way. Jingle all the way. He tries to get that toy for his kids.
Meet the Parents. Is he really a good dad, or is he an overbearing prig?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he was kind of all interrogating.
Sanctimonious prig.
Sanctimonious is the right word.
But yeah, were there any others you think is worth adding?
So the only one that I did. Oh,
Mr. Levinstein.
American Pie. What a great dad.
And that guy,
dad.
Eugene Levy, or Levy, however you say it, is a great dad in Schitt's Creek as well.
He's just so wholesome, but funny and awkward, but it's not
in
cringe.
All the best ways.
The only one that I will mention, I will say this honourable mention, it's a bit of a niche film, but there's a film called Problem Child, and it's played by this actor called John Ritter, and he is your typical all-American good dad. He's trying to
play baseball.
Yeah, he does, because you know what he says? Because the film's called Problem Child, and obviously he kind of adopts this problem child, tries his best to do all the right things, and he actually manages one of those little league baseball teams. And this is what he says before they start the match. I think you call it a match in baseball. Let's call it a match. And he goes, if we win, we get ice cream. But if we lose, we still get ice cream. Wow. And all the kids go, yay! So I'm like, yeah.
He's not driving a winning mentality there, though, is he?
Well, he is probably...
He's a pathetic loser. And actually, I don't think you should say that at all.
What do you call it? It's the participation award that are just lowering standards.
It's Arsenal. You sure it wasn't Mikel Arteta?
Maybe Mikel Arteta was watching Problem Child and based his management style on that. But I guess, that's best movie dads there.
But what do you think would be the very best gift you could get your dad for Father's Day?
Okay, I'm going to try and get back on topic here.
Yeah.
We're talking about the lottery. We're trying to be financially free.
Yeah.
And if your dad is still grafting to this day, trying to put food on the table, trying to make ends meet, leaving early, coming home late because he's been kind of slogging away in whatever he does, whether it's on the building site or in the office, it's, what would he really appreciate?
Let's think about this. Maybe a new TV?
No, a foot massage. No, I'm just kidding.
From his wife?
No, from his son.
Oh, from his son, right.
So give your dad a foot massage. No, I'm kidding. It's early retirement.
Absolutely. Financial freedom, early retirement, put your feet up, 100%.
So, in a way, it's just kind of like going, look, Dad, you've worked so hard. I'm so appreciative. You've done what you need to do. You sacrificed X, Y, and Z. Now you can put your feet up and relax. You deserve it. You no longer need to work. I've taken care of everything. Or here's the money. The bills are covered.
I've sorted you out.
Yeah. But as long as you keep healthy and stuff, because there is a correlation of people who retire and then die quite soon after when they're old age.
Yes. That's why also retire. Don't keep working.
Yeah.
Retire while you're still sort of healthy, because some people it is a case of you go on for too long, you're so used to your job, the moment you stop, you just die. You collapse.
The wheels stop turning. But I would say just do stuff that you actually enjoy. If you still enjoy working, then do it.
Cut the hours down at least.
Do a hobby.
But Tony, on that point of movie dads, something that just popped into my head just while you were saying that. Who do you think would make a better dad? So two that spring out to me: Walter White, Homer Simpson.
Well, okay. Homer Simpson's a cartoon, and Walter. But no, apart from that, just
neither of them are real.
Okay, neither of them are real. But we know Walter White's days are numbered. He's got cancer.
Yeah, and he's just doing what he can to provide for the family.
But he's also
bringing them into disrepute.
Yeah, he's a criminal, and he's not a drug dealer. He's a drug manufacturer, as he says. And okay, I thought the scene was quite cool when he got all those prisoners killed in that 1 minute scene.
Yeah,
when he got all the that was quite cool. And, he is a multi-millionaire if the money didn't get taken. And, that's what you want a rich dad,
He is a multi-millionaire.
But then you got Homer Simpson, who is this kind of... Reminds you of Johnson, this buffling buffoon that is kind of... Things work out for him.
Yeah, but what is he teaching his kids, really?
Yeah, he's kind of like this relatable dad that is...
Hopeless.
A bit hopeless. But there was this one episode, I do remember when... I don't know, it's this kind of guy comes and joins the nuclear plant, and then he sees that Homer is this buffoon. He's in this job, and you find out the job's quite well paid, and Homer's doing it, and then he's got this big house, and he's like, oh my God, look at his house. He's almost like a Gen Zer going to like a boomer, going like, how did you get all this? And he's just like in his own world. But there are some qualities about Homer Simpson. I think his heart's in the right place.
Yeah. And you could argue that for Walter as well.
Yeah.
But obviously Walter goes on quite a dangerous path, goes way off piece, whereas Homer never really does.
Homer Simpson wouldn't be able to manufacture meth, for sure.
No. Although who knows what they got up to in that nuclear power plant.
That's true. You probably wouldn't want a Gus Fring on your ass for whatever reason. So yeah, maybe no. I'm going Walter.
So which one would you go?
I want a millionaire dad.
So you go Walter White. Yeah. But the money were seized, weren't they?
I think there was a barrel somewhere, wasn't there?
It didn't matter anyway for the kids. Did the kids survive? Oh, he must have. He must have.
You know what? Actually, if I remember correctly, he goes to visit Skylar, and he sees the son, and they're living in they're worse off than when they were originally. She's like living in some type of apartment, and she's just still having a cigarette. And I think Walter Jr. is just coming back from school, and he looks like he's a little bit worse off, I would say.
No. Okay.
So Walter White, when he has the money and doesn't go down the route of... doesn't get too greedy, basically.
Basically, you want a rich parent by any means necessary. Got it. But Tony, I think the other thing that's huge when it comes to Father's Day is dad jokes.
Love dad jokes.
And I looked up what is the best dad joke of all time. So this is according to Reddit. Somebody posted, a dad said, anytime we're driving and I see a bunch of cows, I always say, look, a flock of cows. One of the kids, heard of cows, Dad? He replies, of course I've heard of them. There's a flock of them right over there.
I think I get that. One of the herd of cows. Oh, because you heard a herd of cows, and now have you heard of cows? Yeah. That is good. That is a proper dad joke.
And a couple of others that I thought were good. So somebody else put, going past a graveyard, and Dad will say, how many people are dead in there? And the son, or whoever it is, replies, not sure. And the dad replies, all of them. So he's like, how many people are dead in there? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the graveyard.
And he's like, oh, all of them.
I was like literally counting.
Yeah, because he's saying it to him as if he should count how many are dead. And he says, I'm not sure. He said, all of them are dead.
Yeah,
rather
that's
than
true.
some of them being buried alive.
I think I prefer the first one. But
okay. And then you got another one, good one here. It says, a one-liner. I took up origami for a while, but I gave it up because it was too much paperwork. So that's quite a good one. But origami, I don't know, it's Japanese. I don't know if you know what it actually literally translates to.
No, I don't know.
So I believe ori means time and gami means complete waste of.
Oh, because you're kind of doing that.
It's a complete waste of time.
I think it's good. But yeah.
That was my own joke there.
Oh. You know what the classic dad joke is?
Yeah.
You know when the kid goes, Dad, I'm hungry. And then the dad goes, hi, I'm Dad. Oh, do you haven't heard that one?
Yeah, I have. It's a good one. It's a good one.
What about the Office joke? You know when he does... sorry, I keep going on about the Office. David Brent. He tries to open up to meet the new Swindon lot that kind of joined the team. And he goes, oh, I've always been in the paper business. My parents owned a paper shop in Swindon until it blew away.
That is a good one as well. Brilliant. You can't beat a dad joke.
It's good jokes. I think they're just good jokes.
They're the best. But yeah, Tony, anything else on Father's Day, or should we move on to picking next week's numbers?
We certainly can.
And this is it, Tony. I just feel it. We're here. It's June 2024. I think it's the moment we're going to win $1 million plus.
Doing these numbers, I think we're inspiring people to actually look at news around them, stories.
And I'm not being funny.
Anything on the walls that are around them.
I didn't read it out, but a lot of people emailed in this week, Tony, saying, look, we now do the same thing. Mm-hmm. We are actually manifesting the lottery win towards us by just looking out for numbers. It's like, I was walking down a road, somebody emailed in the other day, and some leaves fell on my head. And she was like, oh, looked around, there's a door number, so they actually put that down.
That's incredible. It's like, if you use a locker in the gym and you'd be like...
Which was a really good workout.
Yeah, or like all the lockers are taken up and then suddenly it's like locker number 26. Is that significant? I don't know.
You can even go for the time. Let's say your long-lost stepsister turns up nude at your home.
Yeah.
Just say, what time is it? Was it was a 15:15.
Yeah. And she's like 18 years old.
Yeah.
And she's legal.
She's very much so.
Yeah. But yeah, talking about numbers, I guess we could kick off with the first one that I saw this week. And I'm going to throw people off because the title is Man 71 Arrested After LAPD Finds Nearly 3,000 Boxes of Stolen Lego Sets at His Home. So people think of 71 here, but obviously we know that the lottery only goes up to 59.
Mm-hmm.
But there is another element to the story because officers arrested 71-year-old Richard Siegel, and he had an alleged accomplice, and that was 39-year-old Blanca Gudino, after raiding the elderly man's Long Beach home, according to the Los Angeles Police Department. So the individual boxes have a retail value ranging from $200 to well over $1,000. This is Lego. I didn't know Lego's so lucrative. We should get into the Lego business.
Yeah. Well, we've been talking about how we would invest if we won the lottery rare investments. Lego might be one of them.
Hang on. So if they seized more than 2,800 boxes, so you say about 3,000 boxes, if all of them were kind of around $1,000, just for example, he's a millionaire.
Yeah.
He's got a millionaire equivalent of Lego. But, don't get me wrong. I loved Lego as a kid. Yeah. I don't know about you.
I quite liked it, but is it really that good? I mean, what's so extraordinary about it?
They've done so well to stay relevant, though, in the digital age.
They really have.
The movies.
They really have. But
Star Wars is big.
It's just, yeah, I guess it is cool. But what do you prefer, Lego or a jigsaw puzzle?
You know what? When I was growing up, there was Lego, but then there's this thing, it's not around as much anymore. Do you remember Connects?
Yeah, that was brilliant.
That was good.
That was brilliant.
If I was to be completely honest, I was probably more Connects kid than Lego.
And if Connects had got into all these movies, Star Wars or whatever, they'd still be around today, Tony.
100%. Why couldn't they go for Star Trek?
Yeah.
Then they would have been about, it's like Star Wars, Star Trek.
Yeah.
Are you Lego, you Connects? And Connects is probably more, you could build more intricate things if you got sticks and little hexagon things but anyway, I should look if Connects is still around. So the number I'm going to use with the story is the 39-year-old Blanca, because the 71-year-old he's probably past it.
Senile.
He's senile.
So you can't blame him.
His life's he's going like, look, I'm just going to go for this. But 39-year-old, he's still relatively young. He's still got his life ahead of him. I can see that he wants financial freedom.
Hey, it might be a chick. Blanca. I don't know. Blanca Gudino.
Or it could be that monster thing from Street Fighter.
It could easily be. And to be fair, officers witnessed Gudino stealing items from retailers before dropping them off at Siegel's home. So how do we know that Siegel was really the mastermind? Gudino might have just been dropping them off at Siegel's home in order to obscure the fact that it was her or him who was taking them.
I guess, obviously, they're young. They've got the mobility. 71-year-old isn't going to carry that many boxes of Legos, I think. But.
Detectives did say they believe Siegel would sell the stolen goods online since several potential buyers showed up at his home while officers raided it. How many different potential buyers was he bringing?
Imagine it's just this black market of Legos. Oh, I've got some Lego sets here. Imagine that. He goes, I've got some weed. I've got, what do you want? I've got weed, I've got coke, I've got Lego sets. What do you want? Interesting. So, funny enough, this article is about Lego, but it's got me more excited about Connects now. So that's number 39 that I'm going with. The next one I'm going for is, I guess it's a slow news day because I'll read out the title, is Raisin Found in Toddler's Nose After a 3-month Mystery.
How the hell did it get stuck up there for that long?
The thing is, and I think a lot of fathers can relate, is that kids are not the smartest human beings because they're kids. And they will put anything up any type of hole. Yeah, crevice. And funny enough, reminds me of a lottery story, actually, is that I read something similar. This is going back probably decades ago, is that, do you remember those lottery pens where you would have a plastic ball with all the lottery numbers in the little balls?
Does ring a bell.
You shake it, and then the balls slide down the little tube, and it adds up to 6 numbers, and then there's a pen as well. Remember those?
It rings a bell, or at least
like a little
having
maraca.
those things. Yeah, with
like
the maraca thing.
It's like a little maraca, and then you shake it, and then the balls come. Basically, this kid managed to open one up, and he shoved one of those little balls up his nose, and they struggled to get it out. But
there's something that's happened with the raisin.
So
they shoved it so far up.
So yeah, a toddler who suffered sinus pain, so he must have been suffering for a while.
And lethargy.
Lethargy for 3 months is found to have a raisin stuck up her nose. Peyton Hadley of Cumbernauld, North Lancashire.
Lanarkshire, it's Scotland.
Lanarkshire. Oh, sorry, Lanarkshire.
Yeah.
I thought, Cumbernauld kind of threw me off as well. I was like, where is that? Craig and Kirsty, that she had a pain and would scratch around the area. But despite several GP appointments, nothing was found until the 3-year-old was taken to the Queen's Elizabeth University Hospital in Glasgow. See, this is a perfect example of GPs kind of like...
fobbing you off.
GPs, I mean, I'm not having any disrespect to GPs. They're just kind of like the doctors that kind of know other doctors to sort things out. They're like, let me refer you to a specialist.
Yeah, that's what it's turned into a bit, hasn't it, with the NHS? So, right, what do you want me to do? Refer you? No, I thought you were going to help me.
Yeah, it's like, do you either want antibiotics or let me refer you? Because those are the 2 things that are on the list, really.
But Tony, so if it was ear, nose and throat specialist, isn't that what Dr. Ding?
Yeah, see, this is
Dr. Ding?
Yeah, so this is where
it just shows
the real experts come in. So once the ear, nose and throat ENT specialist managed to solve the mystery by fishing out a raisin that had been lodged in her nose. So maybe they had the equipment to see it, or maybe they can look a bit deeper. They know where to look, unlike a GP.
And GPs are sort of masters I'm not going to say jack of all trades, but they have to have a broad spectrum. They can't be experts in everything. It's quite disgusting, because this article has shown us the wet raisin.
It's quite round.
And all the sort of snot that's come out of her nose. But anyway.
To be fair, I guess a GP is almost that filter, isn't it? Just to see if they can solve it.
And maybe sometimes they can.
But 3 months, and it's quite a long time for the kid to suffer, and several GP appointments. Yeah,
and to be honest, Peyton, honestly, somebody's got to have a word with her. Don't shove a raisin up your nose.
Yeah, hopefully she learned her lesson.
Don't do that again. No way.
So the number there, because it was 3-month mystery, so that's number 3 right there.
Number 3.
And I guess on to the kind of the third number that I've got is the story in regards to something that's happened in America. So Baltimore. So when I think of Baltimore, I think of The Wire. And you haven't seen The Wire, right? But it's set in Baltimore. And again, just a reminder to check that out.
But is it a bit rough, Baltimore?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
According to The Wire, it's proper rough.
Yeah.
But with this one, the title is Baltimore Rapper Jumps into Harbour for 10 days in a row.
In a row.
Won't stop until song goes viral. So what I gather from this is that he doesn't look that famous, but he clearly wants to go viral.
How can he be a rapper?
He's no Eminem. So what I gathered from the story is this kid is trying to make it as a rapper.
This pathetic little kid. How old does he look? He's like a teenager, and he's trying to make it as a rapper, and he's trying to force the issue because no one's interested.
Yeah, so
he's jumping in the sea all the time.
So Logan Reich said he won't stop jumping into the harbour until his new single "Get Rich or Die Trying" goes viral. He's thiefed that from 50 Cent.
And can I just say, I thought the third Reich was bad until I heard about Logan Reich.
That's a Nancy thing. It's a Nancy thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry, I take that back.
No. But you're right. That's a good connection.
Yeah. But so you were saying, what was that about 50 Cent?
Because his song title is called "Get Rich or Die Trying." That's the name of the first album of 50 Cent. I'm pretty sure he coined that "Get Rich or Die Trying." I don't quote me on that, but he
plagiarism. It's derivative.
He did kind of he was known for that. But at the end of the day, okay, he's trying to get some publicity, and clearly it's kind of worked.
Yeah, I mean, it had, listen, he's taken 10 Dunks in the Water is in the news now. Apparently has 16,300 monthly listeners on Spotify, according to Spotify. And he wants to hit at least 1 million streams for ending the challenge.
Whoa, hold on. He says his debut single called Pretty Boy, released in 2002, has been played more than 1.7 million times. Okay, sorry, that just reminded me of The Offspring, but that's pretty fly for a white guy, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
Maybe that's different.
But again, derivative. Yeah. He's just copying all these titles. Maybe he's relying on people kind of typing in and then clicking on the wrong one.
Maybe he's so young that he didn't realise before that there was a period of time with music with I guess millennials and boomers might have listened to.
Yeah. Can we listen to him now? I think I want to listen just to see how bad it is.
What? Right
on
now?
the way home.
Oh, yeah, listen to it. That's just to see.
Well, maybe at the end of the show if we fancy it.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? My music is eclectic.
We're probably not allowed to.
Oh, yeah,
copyright.
But then if we listen to it on Spotify, he gets a bit of a kickback. Do we want to give him? Let's do it. I'm curious now.
Logan Reich.
So I guess for this story is because he's jumped in the harbour for 10 days in a row, in a row. So he won't stop until a song goes viral. I think he'll be there for how long?
He's never going to leave. He will drown in that harbour. There's absolutely no question about it.
However, now we've featured him in the podcast, he might go viral now. So
this is kind of the boost he needed. Yeah. We've actually been counterproductive here.
We've been finessed.
We can get him onto the pod if he wants.
Yeah, why not?
He's looking for 1 million streams. We're looking to become millionaires. Yeah. There's a bit of crossover.
So that's number 10 there because it's 10 days in a row.
But yeah, Tony, so we did speak about this last week on the show. It is election fever. And there's another one that's been announced just last night.
That's thick and fast.
Monsieur Macron. President Macron has called the French election. This one's quite odd because it kind of came out of the blue to some extent. He's announced a snap election very early. And the context was that his party suffered a stinging defeat in the European elections that were over the last few days. Mm-hmm. He secured just 15% of the votes compared to the far-right National Rally's 31.5%. And what he's done is he came out and he just said, look, I'm going to dissolve the National Assembly. He released a video saying, look, I now want you to come out and back me up and stand up against the far right. Which is a massive gamble because they've just pulled more than double his amount in the European elections. This is actually quite interesting. And something about it, Tony, it's like something about this summer is the summer of diminutive, tiny leaders miles behind in the polls deciding to call snap elections. And if we can judge what's happened to Rishi, this might not go well for Monsieur Macron.
It's a bold move. I feel like it's a flip of the coin a little bit. He's just saying it's like a Hail Mary, just saying like, let me just put it out there. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah. And he's probably thinking, I can't do any worse than Rishi in his election campaign.
Go down in flames potentially, but hey, he's how long has he been in power? It's been for a while.
It's been ages. Yeah, he's been there for ages, the little boy. I mean, it's just quite remarkable. Obviously, it always comes to an end, but it is of course. Le Pen, I think, who's the leader of the far right, and it's been a number of years where Le Pen's kind of, and her dad before her was kind of on the precipice of things, and we don't know, Tony, but...
Well, we believe in democracy, so it shall do its thing.
We say that all the time, and this is, by the way, they have a different voting system in France, more proportional representation. And sometimes we say in the UK, we wish we had that, but it does give much more of an opportunity to these fringe parties on either side of the spectrum. So.
That's what it's all about for me. That's what it is. You can't just give everyone a chance to...
Give everyone equal opportunity. And the more extreme, the better, I think, is what you normally say.
Makes things more interesting, I guess.
But yeah, Tony, on that one, I'm going with the number 15 because Monsieur Macron only achieved 15% of the vote. And Tony, I'm not even going to ask what you think about what Rishi did last Friday.
What did he do D-Day. I didn't see it.
You didn't see what he did?
What did he do?
or whenever it was, it might have been Thursday, whenever D-Day was, he left early from the D-Day commemoration. And, all the other leaders were there. Macron, Biden, Rishi Sunak decided to go early. And there's a part of me, I'm almost beginning to wonder if he's sabotaging himself, because all the voters he's going after are precisely the type of people who'd be really offended if he left D-Day early.
Wait, I did see a title about Farage, and I don't know if it's related to that when he says Rishi doesn't understand our culture.
Well, that was contentious. Yeah, it was connected to that.
Okay. Maybe he had like a bad stomach and he was either going to...
Well, you know what he went to do?
Yeah.
Record an interview with ITV News.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he left France, he left Normandy early to go and record an interview. So I think, Tony, this all started when he cancelled HS2. And we called him out on this show.
Maybe it's a PR
and it's
stunt.
just got worse and worse. And quite frankly, Rishi, you deserve everything that's coming to you. Yeah, so there we go. So, next one. My wife said I was talking rubbish after £1 million lottery win. But I got the last laugh. And Tony, that story just caught my eye there. You know we love to feature a lottery story on the pod whenever we can. So mechanic Dave Williams, 58, had won £1 million on the lottery. And he wanted to share the good news with wife Sarah, who's 55. It was a Euro Millions prize.
Typical champagne.
Yeah, lovely champagne shot here.
Across over some water.
Yeah, it looks kind of sexual, actually, the way he's spraying that champagne. But disbelieving wife said that he was joking. She said, I think are they Scottish? Something just makes me think they're Scottish by looking at them. Oh, no, they're Welsh. From Cardiff.
Because they're over... No.
No. I honestly thought Dave was winding me up, she said. But when he showed me the ticket, and now when I see all those notes in the bank account, I know it's for real. So they're planning treats, they're expecting their first grandchild. And let's be honest here, Dave has battled throat cancer, Sarah suffered from health problems. And that's not a surprise when you say, no, I'm good.
The universe has spoken. They deserve this.
They absolutely deserve it. But yeah, the wife actually said to him, "No, you're talking rubbish." And she demanded proof when he first told her the news. But who's got the last laugh now? Well, both of them, really. He actually says himself that, I thought I must have made a mistake, and it was actually a tenner. So when the gentleman came back on the line saying, Mr. Williams, you said you've won £100,000, my heart really sank only to leap once more when he said it's actually £1 million.
Nice.
Oh, so that really is.
So they didn't really fall out. They just had a bit of a... She didn't believe him.
Yeah, she just said, look, you're talking rubbish, mate. They couldn't read all the zeros because he thought at first it was $1 million, then he thought it was 100,000. Then he thought the guy was going to come back and say it was just £100. So, but yeah, so there you go. 58 is the number I'm going with because mechanic Dave Williams is 58 years of age. But Tony, we've got to end on something that caught my eye this weekend, and I got so excited. It was published yesterday on June the 9th. Mm-hmm. And man spots Bigfoot and captures best footage ever recorded. So I just got
I need to see. Is this brand new? Is this brand new?
Well, that's it. Look, published 9th of June, 11:14, updated 11:25. So let's just put it on. And this is apparently the best footage ever recorded of the otherwise mythical creature. But we have pretty much established on this show that this is not a mythical creature. So we just zoom in here.
Can we tell if it's female? Because I'm getting kind of excited now.
You're getting horny. So it's up.
What was that?
Here we go.
I can't even see it. Where is it?
It's just there. See?
That looks like a gorilla from there. From
far. But there shouldn't be gorillas around there. I would say it's inconclusive. And I was thinking it's a bit grainy. Anyway, I then scrolled down through this article. Josh uploaded the harrowing footage he captured to YouTube in October 2013, which has since gone viral. So Lab Bible are farming clicks, putting out, listen to the headline, Man spots Bigfoot and captures best footage ever recorded, 9th of June 2024. And it's about a YouTube video from 2013.
So this is not even 4K.
It's, Tony, I've put the number 11 because it's 11 years ago. I was so shocked. But I think it could be a sign for us because we've been trying to get... I think the one that was from last year was better.
Yeah.
Do you remember? We covered that a couple of weeks ago.
You can clearly see... I think at least they're keeping the Bigfoot story topical.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that we do. And I'm not being funny. I'm sure on the tube the other day I saw an ad for a Sasquatch movie. It might even be Sasquatch Sunset here.
Oh.
It captures the daily life of the Sasquatch with a level of detail and rigour that is simply unforgettable. 5.5 out of 10. Yeah, it was this. Oh. So, I don't know. A year in the life of a unique family.
I think we've got to stop relying on like people taking videos on their handheld camera. Like, we need to get the drones out there.
Yeah, yeah.
We need to get the drones.
But yeah, so I mean, that's just another one of Bigfoot. It continues to prove elusive. But I think you and I, Tony, are pretty certain that it's out there.
It's definitely out there.
And hopefully we'll get some fresh news on that in the weeks to come on the pod. But as I say, number 11 for 11 years ago for that story. And Tony, that means that the numbers you'll be picking this week are as follows.
Go for it, Chris.
Oh, okay. First time I've ever done it. Sorry, I was queuing you up. Okay, 3, 10, 11, 15, 39, and 58.
That's great.
I tried to echo the guy who does it every...
That's perfect.
I was teeing you up. I didn't want to, but...
No, this is perfect. You know why I did that? Because I'm like... I've always been just changing it up.
Changing it up.
The manifestation. It's maybe if my manifestation kind of levels might be a bit low. But you might have it.
There are a lot of signs. There are raisins to believe.
Yeah.
You get it? Raisins to believe.
Okay.
Raisins to believe.
Yeah.
There is just this crazy pattern of dwarf leaders or elvish leaders calling elections.
Almost reminds you of Napoleon.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's Napoleon back. Napoleon complex.
And he lost at Waterloo, which was a famous song by ABBA. And now we've got this Bigfoot thing. So, I don't know. It just feels like this could be the week.
You know, imagine this. We manifest the winning lottery numbers, and in that same week, a real Bigfoot. There's that real proof of Bigfoot. And it all comes together. Imagine that. We've got to imagine that. What a week. Winning the lottery and like Bigfoot is like screened on TV and like Piers Morgan is just literally talking about it.
Piers Morgan is interviewing the Bigfoot and you're waiting in the wings to go live on air and shag a Bigfoot. All in the name of medical.
It reminds me of that thing, you know, when they genetically engineered something with that sheep.
Yeah.
And everyone's getting really excited.
Oh, Dolly the sheep.
Dolly the sheep.
Cloned. Yeah.
And they're like Bigfoot's there and they got kind of filming it.
But I mean, you wouldn't rule it out. It's been such a crazy 10, 20 years, or whatever it's been. What is it, 10 years really?
Yeah.
Last time you'd been a bit mad.
Yeah.
You wouldn't rule it out, would you? Suddenly you switch on the TV, Bigfoot has been found. Can you imagine?
Okay, if we won the lottery or the Euro Millions, which I'm doing something where I am using some of the same numbers for Euro Millions.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still putting it on.
Yeah.
Week in, week out. Yeah, Euro Millions.
Yeah, Euro Millions is like 123 million. So if we win that, we could totally put a good food meal for Bigfoot research.
Yeah.
And really take it seriously.
Yeah. That's what I was, it just crossed my mind yesterday when I was looking at this of, okay, look, we've got all these grand plans with our money. But I'm beginning to think, even if we did just win like 10 or it was 11 million this week, do we really need the money for ourselves when, Bigfoot hasn't been found yet? Maybe we should just put the whole lot on a Bigfoot foundation, a Bigfoot research centre.
I know what you're thinking, because you're thinking beyond money and financial. You're thinking of your legacy.
Yeah.
And that is priceless. So You could totally do that with your money. I'll just be on the cruise, Chris.
Okay.
Just let me know how the research goes. But who knows? That's a good problem to have. We'll have a debate if we actually win the lottery. So look forward to that conversation in the near future. But I guess that brings us to the end.
Well, Tony, I think really important for everybody to remember, and we should have said this at the start. Follow us.
Yes.
Win me the lottery. We're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. We're even on Facebook, but I think most of our thousands of followers are on
YouTube,
Instagram, and TikTok.
Totally, I think
it goes YouTube, then TikTok, then Instagram.
Yeah, I think
in terms of engagement.
We might even explore the other kind of the Chinese ones, like WeChat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they might like us.
I think it will make it easier.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have the Chinese translation or something.
Yeah, with AI. Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Or Dr. Ding can just do a voiceover.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you could do she could do an episode in Chinese.
Yeah, she could just be there while we're talking.
Subtitles.
And then she's just kind of regurgitate. Well.
And since she's a doctor, can she do sign language as well? She could sign it. So we could just put on the YouTube channel, and she's just at the front, signing and speaking Chinese at the same time.
I mean, we're already international. We're just this next step.
Yeah.
Great, so many exciting plans, Chris. I guess the listeners can see how that kind of unfolds.
Absolutely.
On the next one, so on Win
Me the Lottery.
Goodbye.
Ciao, ciao.